Hello friends, so far 5 videos has been uploaded in this series. Please check it out if you haven't seen them. 2 videos are about your DevOps pipeline in detail, and the third video is about how to create the steps template in Azure DevOps pipeline, and the fourth video is about how to create the jobs template in Azure pipeline, and the fifth video we discuss about how to create the stage template in Azure DevOps pipeline. Let's continue our learning and learn how to create the template for variables and how to use it. We will also learn how to pass the parameter to variable template file and how to use the variable on conditional based. So let's get started. So there can be two types of variables. One is the global variable, so which can be used throughout all the scripts in all the pipelines, but there are some variables which are project specific. So how to create the global variables files and template files, and how to create the project specific template files and how to use it. So now we will learn about that. Now first I will create the global template file, right? So I go to the templates folder. So inside it I will create a one file, global template.yaml. So create this file. So in this I will use the variables, these two variables. So I am just given the pool name self-hosted agent, and I just created another variable, global variable. So we can use into the jobs, steps, or stages. So I will commit here. So now we will modify the main pipeline. For stages, I will add the parameter variables and this template file, basically load the template file. So it will be global-template.yaml. So I loaded here. So it will use these two parameters. So now step is how to use these two parameters. So now let's add that variable here. So far we have seen, because whenever we are using the parameter, so we are mentioning here the file, we are using it as a parameters dot the name of the parameter. So for the variables, it is just very simple, $sign round bracket and then the name of the variable. So we can use here as, instead of curly braces, we can use this as a, this is a template file demo using global variable and the name of the variable. So name of the variable is variable1 and its value is global underscore variable, right? So we can use this in any step. So I'm just, for the demo purpose, I'm showing you how to use it into the script. Let's modify this display name. This is template demo for global variable. And also we can add here the pool. So where we want to use the pool. So here I can give the name, which is the variable. So pool name is, variable is pool name. So this is the pool name. As in the previous video, as I told you, that we can define the pool name at the global level or also in the job level. We can mention at the job level and decide where that particular job will run on which pool. So because right now I'm using only the one pool, which is self-hosted, so that's why I just mentioned it. So this is for your understanding how we can use the global variables earlier. So we can use the variables in the jobs, or in the steps or in the stages. So here I add the variable into the step section. So I added the another pool here. So let's pass the parameter as a pool name to this template and see how it is working. So pool name will be right. So instead of using this, so I will go to the template, so jobs template here, This is the self-hosted. So I will just add it here because I'm passing it as a parameter. So I will add here as parameter. So parameters dot pool. So this is the variable which I am passing here as a parameter to this template. So that I am using here into the jobs. So if I commit here, similarly, if I go to the stages, I will show you here. So here also if I add here, so add the pool name. So similarly, I can pass the parameter here in the stages and use that variable as a parameter into the stages. So I added here the parameter and another is the global variable. So here I can add the message here, $sign parameters dot variable one, so which is global variable. So this is the demo project one for template to understand global variable. So it will print here the message here. So now we are passing the parameters to the stages, or we are using the global variables inside the stages. So let's commit here, and if we go to the main, so because I am adding the parameters, so I will add the parameter here, pool, and another is the variable one, which is one, right? So I will copy here, add these parameters as a variable. So I will add these all the parameters for all the stages. So now what I have done, just as a recap, so I created the one global variable template file here, which is the global template. So I added the two variables, pool name and the variable one. Pool name is self-hosted agent and the variable one is global variable, right? I committed this one. Now I load this variable template inside the main pipeline file and use those variables. So first I use the variable under dollar variable one here into the script or into the steps section. I am passing that variable, I'm using those variable into the jobs and also passing that variable to the different steps here. So into the template, jobs template, I'm passing it here as a pool name. And similarly for the stages also, I am passing those two variables to understand how the variables will work into the stages. So here is the example for the steps. This is the example for the job, and this is example for the stages. So how to use the variable. So if I commit here and let it run, so if we go to the pipeline, see the pipeline is running. So first change is into the Mac job. This is the script step. It should be the global variable. So if we go to the build section, see here. Yes, so it is now our job is updated, message is printed here, global variable, and the variable name is global underscore variable, right? So next is we are passing, we are using the pool name, which is the Windows. We are using the pool name here as a Windows job. So we can see here the Windows job is also running on the self-hosted agent. And third is we are using this pool name and passing it to the jobs. So we are using here the jobs. So if we go here inside the job, so this job Ubuntu is also running on the self-hosted. So similarly, if I show you here into the steps, no, we didn't make any changes into a step. Into the jobs, we make the step. Yeah. So here we mentioned here the pool name. Next, we make the changes into the stages. So in the stages, I have passed these two variables, pool name and the variable. Sorry, three variables: environment, pool name, and variable one. So if I go to the stages, so this dev is done. So if we can see here what changes we have made. So in the yeah. So in the multi-line script we make the changes. Understand global variable, and this is for the dev, and it is running on the self-hosted agent. If I click here, it is running on the self-hosted agent. So in this way, you can use the global variables, and you can create the global variable template file and use those variable in any steps, like into the steps or into the jobs or into the stages. So now we will understand or create the variables for project specific. Let's say you have the variables for each and every project that you want to use. So first step, what I will do, I will go to the templates folder. I will create here the one file. So I have created a file, project one hyphen variables hyphen template.yaml. Right. So I add this piece of code. So here what I'm doing is I just define the parameter here. So which is the environment, and its default value is dev. So I'm using that variable, the environment name, and I just give that environment name as variable to that value, which is a parameter value is the parameters dot environment. So now the environment name will be dev on which is the default value dev. So if I don't pass any parameter, then the default value will be dev. Right. So because I'm using here, right. So next is the condition. So if the parameter environment is dev, then the connection string will be this. I'm just giving as a value. So this is the different value for based on the different environment. So I will commit this file. Yeah. So now this file has been committed. So next step is now to use this file into the main pipeline. So because this is the value for dev QA stage. So what I will do, I will go to the template stages template and modify this little bit to use those variables, right? So what I will do, I will add this piece of code inside the jobs. So inside the job, so for particular job, I'm using the variables, right? Keyword. So in the variable keyword, I'm defining which file I need to use. So I am creating here the file name is project one hyphen variables hyphen template. Right. So I'm just telling which template file it need to use. Parameters. So because in this file I'm using the parameter as a variable, so I'm just passing here the environment as a parameter name. I will make the little bit changes here to understand whether to print the connection string message. So now I will add the message here. Hope you understand the project variable example, and the value is connection string. We can do one thing, we will add into the new line. So let's commit it and see how our changes will look like. With this main pipeline, there is no change required, and this will not trigger the pipeline. And for that, we need to manually trigger the pipeline. So now the pipeline has been completed, and now we can see how our changes are reflecting in the printed message. So we can see, go to the dev job and into the so here we can see, hope you understand, this is a project variable example, and this is print message for the connection string, which is for the dev. And similarly for the QA, it will print the message for QA variables, right? And similarly for stage, it print the value of stage environment, and for production, it prints the values for production environment. So in this, so now you can understand how we can use the project specific variables based on the conditions, whether it is for dev, QA, or even without conditions also. If any project there are some variables or some parameter value for particular project, how we can use them. So hope this session is very helpful and useful for you. Hope this session would be useful for you. All template and main pipeline files have been committed in GitHub repository. Link is mentioned here on the screen. I will also provide it into the description. Stay tuned and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Keep learning, happy learning.